You're listening to the Served Up Show, a podcast that features inspiring beverage professionals and topic experts that share their passions through meaningful content. Your hostesses, Bridget Albert, is best known as the Market Fresh Mixologist, an industry mentor with over 25 years of experience. And I'm Julie Milroy, best known for my passion for leading change and helping others grow in their careers. Grab a cocktail and sit back. Let's learn how we can make a positive impact in our industry.
Hey y'all, it's Bridget here. Today we have two incredible guests joining us, Ivy Mix and Lynnette Marrero, the minds behind Speed Rack, a global cocktail competition with a mission. They've recently released a fantastic book titled A Quick Drink, the Speed Rack Guide to Winning Cocktails for Any Mood, featuring insights from over 80 talented Speed Rack participants. Now, this book isn't just a collection of recipes. It's a journey through the world of cocktails curated by some of the best in the business. Ivy and Lynnette are here to share the stories behind the drinks, the inspiration behind the competition, and the impact it has made on breast cancer charities worldwide. So quickly, go grab yourself your favorite cocktail and enjoy this very special episode of Served Up. Lynnette and Ivy, welcome to Served Up. I am so excited to have you both on the show today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Wonderful. Ivy, let's start off with you. Can you give a little bit of background of what Speed Rack is and how folks can participate and or support?
Yeah, so bare brass tacks, Speed Rack is a bartending competition and breast cancer charity supporting and promoting diversity in the mixology, for lack of a better word, world. We focus on promoting women and femme-identifying folk within what has always been a very male-dominated industry, while simultaneously raising money for breast cancer prevention and research. Yeah, we travel around the country and around the world, doing our events, lifting up women and femme-identifying folk across the world, raising money for breast cancer, and trying to level up the game of bartending, which is always in itself a physical and creative act. And Speed Rack is really about kind of mastering those skills and trying to show, hey, here are some of the best people in the biz. And when we first started Speed Rack, Lynnette and I would go into some of the best bars in the world. And I say that with like air quotes, right? And be like, hey, we don't see a lot of women here. Like, why not? And people be like, oh, we don't know any. So Speed Rack basically started as like now you have no excuse. Here's a stage with a bunch of people on it who you say you don't know, who can crush service on a Saturday night, and you should hire them. So that's what we've been doing for the last 13 years. It's been a wild ride for sure.
I love it. How can folks support Speed Rack?
Yeah, so a few different ways. If you're a bartender who bartends at least 2 or 3 days a week, you can compete in one of our competitions. You can find that out at speed-rack.com or follow us on social. We're at speed_rack on Instagram is where we're most active. If you're a bar enthusiast or foodie, anything like that, please come to our events. We raise all of our money for breast cancer research and prevention by the tickets that we sell at these events. Additionally, we do some fundraising aspects on the side. We share all of that on our social, all to raise money for breast cancer research and prevention. And if you are lucky enough to get a copy, because they're so hot and on demand right now, we have our book coming out, and the book really shows, highlights a bunch of women in our industry across the world, and also proceeds of profits will go to further breast cancer research and prevention. So a bunch of different ways.
I love it. Lynnette, I'm going to flip it over to you. Can you tell our listeners what the book is called, what it's about, and how are you capturing that energy that we feel when we attend Speed Rack or when we judge Speed Rack or perhaps even participate in it as a competitor? Are you capturing that in this book?
or see our videos online. If you go to YouTube and you've never seen a speed rack, I highly recommend going through the past on our YouTube and seeing all the videos. But the book is called A Quick Drink, obviously, a little bit of a play on the idea of speed rack. It's a quick drink, the speed rack guide to winning cocktails for any mood. And the idea of the book really comes from our dealer's choice round. So just to give everyone a little bit more of like the play of how speed rack works is that we have 4 drink rounds on stage. We pit 2 bartenders against each other in a round robin style. So a bunch of people apply online. We accept between 20 and 25. They hop on, do this prelim round, which is more like making a cocktail in a dive bar. But it has to be good, like that cocktail in a dive bar that you get and you're like, oh my God, that was actually a really good margarita. And then we take the top fastest times and then we put them head to head in a bracketed style. So we focus on classic cocktails in the speed rack competition because it's really important, we believe, to the foundation. And really, as this industry keeps growing and expanding, it's even more important that passing on that education. So we actually we'll have in the book, we have actually targeted certain classics, and we have a few in there from, friends and folks who've been involved in judging speed rack and mentors and people that we, really admire. And then for the bartenders who contributed to the book, we gave them a dealer's choice prompt. So in the last round of speed rack, in the national competition, we actually have 4 dealer's choice. So that's the one time where we're like, okay, you just competed in 3 rounds, to get from quarterfinals, semifinals. Now you're in the finals. Can you use all of that skill set and what you learned from classics to now innovate into a new cocktail? And so our judges, like you've judged before, Bridget, will give a certain set of parameters of what they want in that drink. So we went through and actually looked at some of our old prompts that judges had. And then we also just thought of different ones that maybe guests might use coming into a bar, right? So once you've gone through the menu, you've had 2 or 3 of the signature drinks on that menu, you look at it and you're like, oh, okay, well, what else can you make me? And that happens a lot. I think, a lot of people, we want to empower the guests who are walking into these craft cocktail bars and bars to feel comfortable asking for the styles of drinks that they want. And we also hope that this is a tool for bartenders to stretch their creativity. And there's a lot of fun pop outs that kind of teach you kind of how we all have learned the potato head style of like, all right, here's a classic, start with that as your foundation, swap out some ingredients, and now you have a new cocktail. Like you can start teaching yourself how to innovate through those classics. I kind of find, the joy of mixology by our dear late friend, Gaz Regan, really, I think when I first started bartending, really highlighted a lot of that because it broke down drinks by styles. And this is just the evolution of those kinds of principles.
Yeah, that's really super interesting. Do you have any favorites or standouts that are in the book as far as cocktail recipes go?
Oh, there are so many. That's really, it's almost insane. I was actually thinking a little bit about the one that Tess Sawyer has in the book. I just saw her yesterday and we were talking about it, and she kind of makes this like beautiful sherry martini style. And that's what's great is like right now thinking in a different way of having how you can change those drinks, right? The martini is really trending. I actually really love that entire section with this, which is crystal clear. There's a lot of really fun cocktails in there. Elise Bleckman made one called Hang On Little Tomato, and it's this beautiful like tomato water and that same style. So I tend to leave those nice, clean, savory, but our tropical section is also really fun.
Amazing.
Yeah, I really like, not to like just like call out one of our drinks, but Lynnette has one called A Pink Agenda, which is a play on words. One of our biggest beneficiaries for Speed Rack is a not-for-profit called The Pink Agenda. This year, actually, Lynnette and I were honored as the honorees of their gala for Breast Cancer Awareness Month because of the fundraising that we've done. But it's super delicious. I think it's a very fun play on words too. Like just putting the word before pink agenda all of a sudden like makes you think about what a pink agenda is anyway. And I thought it was super clever because I, for one, cannot name cocktails. I have to call my sister to name all my cocktails. And I was like, that's so clever, so simple, so clever. And we tell a little bit about that drink, Lynnette.
Yeah, that's it's actually a pisco riff, so really made that to honor one female craft distillers. So I made it with originally concepted with Machu Pisco with the wonderful Asher sisters who are really incredible, like strong, have always been that strength in the women's distilling. And it has raspberries, champagne. It's all the fun things that you think. It's like light, refreshing, brings people in that very like 75 style, but using the pisco instead of gin, which we actually have a really fun, feature where, Ivy really connected the dots about how like these different spirits, you can have identity, right? You wouldn't initially think pisco gin that they could swap out, but you're looking at aromatics, florals, especially as we look at new styles of gins, right? They really lean more American style, et cetera, really lean out of the juniper and more into those kind of aromatics. So it's a really fun stuff.
What is New World gin anyway? No one knows.
Explain that to us, please.
Yeah, exactly. Give us London Dry again, please.
I love that. I love that. Ivy, I'm going to flip this question over to you. And, as a woman in the industry, you both have been really paving the way for so many of us. And with this new book coming out, can you talk to why this book is important to the community as a whole, men included, and why representation, especially through this vehicle that you're now providing not only the community, right, but the consumer to raise awareness, not just for breast cancer, but for talent, right?
Yeah.
The talented women in our industry. Why is this important to Speed Rack? Why is this important to yourself? And why is this important to the community as a whole? And Lynnette, I'll ask you the same question, so you can chime in whenever you'd like.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, first off, Speed Rack in our youth, we were like, we're a bartending competition for women, by women, a feminist organization that fights for equal rights and representation of sexes in the workplace. I think one of the beautiful things about the past 15 years or so is that the world's concept and understanding of what just gender identity is has really changed, and Speed Rack has been along on that ride, which has changed, our messaging and what we do. But in our essence, we are the same, which is, hey, we need more diversity in bars, and that's just like you need more diversity just about anywhere, because sometimes, and I'm of the opinion, most people who do Speed Rack, most people who are in like our level of the industry, like we're not bartenders who necessarily answer the question, like, what else do you do? We're bartenders that this is what we do. This is our career. This is a way to make money. I personally fell into it and realized it was going to become my life because of the economic collapse in 2008. And I realized it could be a career, and I didn't see many women in it. And it still is a great way to make a career. And it's a great way to make a career if you across the socioeconomic spectrum, right? So again, that's another fight for diversity. But you can't make change in a bubble. And even from the very beginning, Lynnette and I leaned on some of the most fantastic people, men included, in this industry to get this off the ground. Because if it's just a bunch of, let's just say just the word women right now, just a bunch of women in a room being like, we don't have representation. We need to break out of that bubble and find some of these, frequently the people at the tippy top are men, and be like, hey, you seem like a decent, compassionate human. Want to help us rise to the top? Like, we kind of need to ride on the string of your balloon for a little bit. And so many people in our industry turned around and did that. And they continue to do that. And I think that that's one of the reasons why Speed Rack has been important, why it continues to be important. Our world and just the concept of diversity is changing a lot. And I think that's important to recognize that and to fight for it continuously. So that's why it's important.
Yeah. And I think to add to that, it's funny, even when we started expanding to other countries, a lot of the times, with the exception of the UK, it was the male bartenders in the community asking for us to come and help. And be a part of it. I would say exclusive of Mexico and the UK, to correct myself. But, so what that says is that those communities, what I love is that when we started, like Ivy said, people were like, yes, Dale and Dave, and they're like, yeah, we'll sit and judge. These are people, and we'll be on these panels and we'll help you mentor these women. The guys who are the top bartenders were like, yeah, we'll stand behind her and bar back and do that for the event because it's so important for them to feel supported. And, as we see kind of the growth and change over the years, it brings the whole community together. Like right now, I look at our emails, people who are asking questions. It's like, hey, I'm at this hotel here and I have this awesome head bartender and I really want to help her enter and make sure she feels supported. What can you send to me? Do we have the specs? How does it work? And I'm like, here, go watch these videos and find this information here. And I love seeing that support coming from within, because, that's how we all work together. And I love that our community as a whole has recognized that. And, even back season 1, we had folks who like hopped on the road with us, like Dan De Oliveira and Sergio Sterna, and who actually our co-writer, Megan Krigbaum, we are like, you have to talk to these people who, and talk to them why they decided to follow us like roadies about this and what made it, worth it for them. And a lot of that was like, it's just wild to the people who've like really become cultish fans are like, everyone you go to, you just see this, you can see the style of the community that's happening. You just walk in and there's just this energy and everyone is there for the right reasons. And, we call it like Bartender's Christmas. And it's just a really, a lot of things in our industry aren't necessarily always like equally supported or super agnostic. It's nice to walk in a room and there's all these suppliers from different places all working together in like what a real bar environment is. And then you have people coming from all the different bars, flying in from cities or driving in from things that are close by. And now the communities are all talking together. And I think that's kind of some of the magic. But I was speaking to actually one of our former competitors last night. It was Kiwa Bryan, who we realized we were chatting. I met her 13 years ago. And she's like, I entered Speed Rack because you sat at my bar at this restaurant in Hollywood. And you said, you need to enter Speed Rack, please. It's our first season. We're coming to LA. And she's like, and really? I entered. Yeah. And she entered and it was just this moment. And she's like, and now my career, she was just leaving one huge opportunity that she's like, I credit Speed Rack with giving me my career in, in really learning about rum and working in the corporate and distributor. She's heading off to do a new project that she's super excited about. She's like, and that just pushed me in a different place. And then another bartender who was at the event, Katya, she's, 3 months pregnant. She's behind the bar. And at the bar we were at last night, like half the women who, like the whole new team that's been there come through the Speed Rack community. And I was like, this is great. And she was like, I'm 3 months pregnant and this space is really open for me. And there's not a lot of spaces where like I can be 3 months pregnant and that they're okay with me bartending. And when I hear that, I'm like, oh man, we still have a lot of work to do on
no kidding.
How we support. So
yeah, that's a whole other can of worms, Like, but that I love that story. I think that's so great.
It was very touching.
Yeah.
I love that story too. I want to kind of stay on the theme of touching stories. I think that as far as the beverage community goes, like, we see the energy at the competition itself, and it's almost like going to a concert, whether you're a judge or if you're in the audience. I don't know so much for the competitors are so dialed in, and it's, a very serious, although fun moment for them. But the other side of Speed Rack was something that I got to personally experience. And I do want to share this story because I don't think that a lot of folks know is that, Speed Rack truly puts their money behind the causes of breast cancer research, supports the organizations that are doing the work. But then, for myself, I have been judging Speed Rack for a very long time. And I look forward whenever I'm asked, like, yes, please put me in, coach, and if not, I'm in the audience. Either way, I am there to support. And one of the most beautiful moments for me personally was not on the stage at all. It really wasn't. It was for years, one of my best friends was suffering from breast cancer, and she was a single mom of multiple children, and she didn't have a lot. She didn't have a lot. And when she did pass, and I shared the news with the two of you that, Stacey had died. It was a tremendous gift that you gave to her children. And I don't know how much you're aware of that, so Speed Rack donated, I think it was $5,000 to the hospice. that Stacy was in. And when you don't have a lot and you can't do a lot to honor, right, your parent in an organization stands up and stands proudly and does something, it affects them still today. So the work that you're doing is not small, although it's so fun, and it is so fun, but it's completely thoughtful, it's completely meaningful, and it's really fucking important. So I respect the hell out of both of you, but I want folks to know that you're doing the real work.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, it's so hard sometimes doing it. Like we've had different instances where, and we're working on some different paths right now where someone comes up to us and they say, hey, I'm a bartender. I have breast cancer. Like, help me, and it's because of we're like, we wish we could, but like, it's very hard. If we give you $5,000, you have to pay taxes on that. And it's going to be very complicated. And it's just like, you have to go through this whole rigmarole. But we're working on different outlets to do that right now, which is fantastic. And we have had some really fantastic opportunities being able to help people within our industry who also have breast cancer, like real tangible, like, I know this person, we can figure out a way working through another not-for-profit to try to help this person out. So yeah, I really appreciate that because sometimes it can get lost, the bartending aspect of it, this like feministic movement is so important. And it is the part of it. But the second pillar is the less fun, the really sad part, like Speed Rack rooting for the underdog. Because in theory, we're all women out there. We're all the underdog, right? Like that's what makes it kind of fun. But, people have to realize that every single person diagnosed with breast cancer is also the underdog. Like they're starting at a deficit. So yeah, I'm happy that you said that and took note.
Yeah. And to mention some of the organizations that have been helpful, the Helen David Foundation through the USPG, we were able to work through them to help with applications. And we refer folks to there all the time who are bartenders. Southern Smoke is another great organization that you can, if this affects you, at least in the US. So for the US folks here, where you can get some support. And as Ivy alluded to, we are launching with another rally to support through the Chris Patino Fund to have a dedicated scholarship fund to support bartenders affected specifically by breast cancer. So that's a really great way that we're able to now do that direct support. And then when we look at organizations like the Pink Agenda, why we've stayed with them, we actually followed a researcher there. One year we did an Avon partnership, and we actually met the researcher through another bartender. He was a regular at a bar, and our friend Ben was like, you have to meet them. This is what they're doing. And he was so incredible, so forward thinking. And a lot of the work that they have done when we were honored, Cooper Cheatham, who was our event coordinator for several years, his mom passed of metastatic stage 4 breast cancer. And he was saying, oh my goodness, a lot of the research they did directly affected my mother. He was like hearing these words. He's like, I never thought I'd hear these words again. And it was just really incredible to see. So we resonate with them as an organization because they have the same vibe. Like their galas are fun events, and they're celebrating life, and there's survivors there. And they always have they have a Fabulous Foundation by Juliana Rancic, and someone who's going through treatment gets, their wish granted, and it makes them feel special and good for a moment while they're going through something. So we really aligned with them because there's a fun side, and then there's a really serious side where they're really pushing for progress and work. So
thank you so much for sharing that. I would love to end with a lightning round. Yeah. Would you guys be up for that?
Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Always down.
Okay. Lynnette, I'm going to start with you. Or you know what? You know what? You guys just answer on your own will. How about that?
Okay.
You ready?
Ready.
All right. Texting or talking?
Talking. Well,
Texting.
Depends. It depends. I hate a cold call. I know this is a fire round. Don't cold call me, but if you want to connect with me, call me.
What's the last song you listened to?
Texas Hold'em. Cowboy Carter's coming.
Knee 5 by Philip Glass.
I love it. Favorite day of the week?
Sunday.
Fill in the blank. Taylor Swift is?
annoying.
Badass. I respect her work ethic.
Oh God, I don't understand why she's taken up my entire, like, I'm like, God, I respect, but like, I don't need to hear about you every day.
That's not her fault. That's the media.
Oh, well, okay. Well, the media needs to chill.
There you go.
Yes,
Favorite celebrity crush?
Like romantic or a friend?
Always romantic.
Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh man. Oh, I have to say, oh God, why am I blanking on his name from Dune? Handsome Guatemalan guy.
Chalamet?
No, the Guatemalan guy who lives he's becoming a llama.
Yeah. Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac. I've actually seen him in person. He's very handsome.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. What's for dinner tonight?
Airplane food.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. Probably something sushi. Something
I'm like, I'll be eating in the Delta Lounge.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And then finally, margarita on the rocks, up or frozen?
Rocks. Salt.
Rocks, yeah. Half salt lime. Right.
I love it. And then Ivy, can you tell us where we can find the book? Would love our listeners. We need to support and get one as soon as we can.
Yeah. My recommendation is always to go support your local bookstore. In my mind, better to support a locally owned business than a big conglomerate. B, there's always the chance that if you go to your local bookstore and you live in like Boise, Idaho, that maybe they'll pick up 4 copies or 3 or more than just one. And that would be really helpful for us, and they can get it on the shelves. You can also, it's being published through Abrams. You can go to Abrams' website as well, or bookshop.org can direct you to your local independently run bookstore.
We have the link right on our website as well. So right on the front page of speed-rack.com, that'll take you directly to our publisher. You can find if you already work in larger systems and you want to do what the big name place, you can also find us at the big A for Amazon. But try to go local for the pre-book. And we'll be putting QR codes and things ultimately on our site eventually for US National. But if you currently go to our website, you'll get right to our publisher, and that'll be a place to direct you.
Wonderful. So listeners, now you have the information. Go order today. Ivy and Lynnette, I just, want to thank you for taking time to be on Served Up. And as always, I just want to wish you both, just some great health and a lot of peace, sisters.
Thank you.
And that's the best. That's the best salutation. Yeah. Health, justice, peace. Let's all be happy. That's great.
You're so right.
Thanks for having us so much. We just respect you guys so much. And thank you for letting us spread the word about our new project. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Cheers.
Right. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Served Up is brought to you by Southern Glazers Wine and Spirits. Produced by Zunu.online. Music by We Killed the Lion can be found on Spotify. Make sure to subscribe to be notified of future Served Up episodes. Cheers!